Hey, real fans, we hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. Last week was such a blast with my childhood bestie, Kelly Carter McCluskey, as she joined us to chat all about Gremlins.
And this week, we're going to be ringing in the new year with one of my adult besties. You had a childhood bestie. I've got an adult bestie.
Yes, I know you're excited about that. And I bet you're excited about this week's movie too, because it is in your favorite genre, sister. It's a rom-com.
I am indeed. I'm excited because I do love a rom-com, and this one's a classic. It's one that sparked plenty of conversation over the years about love, friendship, and everything in between.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Missy, and this is Real Sisters Rewind.
Join us as we go back to the 80s. Welcome to Real Sisters Rewind, Back to the 80s, a podcast for people who love movies and wish they were as good now as they were back then. I'm Amanda, and I'm here with my sister Missy, and we want to welcome back all of our real fans joining us today. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. We are glad you're here. You should know that we're two sisters who love great films, especially those from the 80s.
That's right, Amanda. And each week we rewatch and relive some of our favorite movie memories. If you're enjoying the podcast, please give Real Sisters Rewind a 5-star rating on your podcast app. Subscribe and leave us a review to help more movie lovers find the show. We're also sending out Real Sisters stickers for every 5-star review. So if you leave us one, just take a screenshot and email it to hello@realsistersrewind.com, and we'll make sure you get one of those cool stickers.
Yes, and we need you to remember to email us because we can't always tell who the real fan is on the review. So be sure to screenshot us and send us that email. The stickers.
Yeah, sometimes it's like RT.
Yeah, it's like their
Mayce.
username.
Yeah, so, right.
So we really want to get those to you. They're super cute. So today we're diving into one of the most beloved romantic comedies of all time. One of my very favorites of my whole life, When Harry Met Sally.
Is actually called a romantic comedy for the ages.
Well, I like that. This movie gave us iconic lines and one of the best on-screen duos ever. And I think also maybe unexpected great on-screen duos. And we just can't wait to talk about it.
Yes, it's packed with iconic moments, witty banter, and it's set against the backdrop of one of our favorite cities in the world, New York City in the 80s.
And speaking of New York City, our special guest today actually followed the footsteps of the Sally character in the movie because she graduated from college and moved to live in the Big Apple. But I'll let you introduce her, Missy.
Absolutely. I would love to. As I said in the beginning, she's one of my besties. But she's a friend I met later in life. We've only known each other, Mayce, for what, about 10 years?
Yeah, about 10 years.
And we couldn't have grown up further apart. And I don't just mean geographically, right? We grew up very differently, but we're also so much alike. We're besties, we're business partners. We're even launching our own leadership podcast next week, Impactful Messages with Mayce and Missy. So welcome to Real Sisters, Mayce Delvalle.
Yay! Welcome, Mayce. We're so glad to have you.
Well, thank you, bestie, and thank you, bestie sister. I am so excited to be here that I get to be a real sister today. So I'm excited. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. We're excited too.
All right. Well, before we dive into all the love, laughs, and all the I'll have what she's having moments. Let's go back to 1989 and set the scene for what was happening in the world and when this film was released, as well as learning some of those fascinating facts that Amanda and I love to share about the film.
When Harry Met Sally hit theaters on July 21st, 1989, Missy, do you remember seeing it for the first time?
I do. I remember seeing it a few weeks ago when it was on our lineup of movies to go through. I have to say, I always felt like I loved When Harry Met Sally, but
Wait. So you're saying you don't remember seeing it in 89, like
I
back in the
don't think I
day?
did. And July 21st of 1989, it was like the end of my college years. I was busy getting ready to student teach, and I just didn't make it to the theaters for this one,
I
but
feel like the
I
same
felt like I
way.
knew it. Yeah.
I feel like it's a movie that I've seen a million times, but I have no idea when I saw it for the first time. And in 89, I was graduating high school. So, I mean, I honestly do not remember the first time I saw it, but it's one of those movies, when it comes on E or TNT or TV, like you watch it every single time, no matter where it was, but I don't remember the first time either.
Yeah, but I think when I'm watching it like that, Macy, I'm usually multitasking, right? Like I'm not necessarily watching it. It's on and I know all the parts, but it really wasn't until getting ready for this podcast that I like sat down and watched it from beginning to end, taking it in. I had a few tears. What about you, Amanda?
I was 13 and I saw it in theaters, and it made a huge impression on me. It was a great movie experience, Hardy Street Cinema. And yeah, and it was, I think it just made this really big impression on me. And I think I'll try to talk about it more when we are talking about the themes in the film and that question of, can boys and girls be friends? Because I always had a lot of guy friends my whole life. And this movie would always kind of come back to me. And I don't know, it just made a really big impression on me.
Was it like your first kind of big girl movie? I mean,
No, I
At
don't think
no,
so.
13, I mean, at 13.
No, I don't think so. I don't
no.
think so. I mean, it was maybe my first. I mean, I had seen like some of the John Hughes kind of movies, but like maybe adult rom-com probably. And it really, this kind of like started rolling that genre out, I think. I mean, not the first rom-com, but in this format and the structure. But yeah, it made a really big impression on me.
Which
I
is
loved
interesting
it.
because I feel like this movie, like, I don't know, would a 13-year-old get it? Like, I don't, I don't know, at
Oh yeah, we
13,
got it
well,
for
yeah,
sure.
obviously, if you're saying it made a really big impression on you, maybe it laid a foundation for like future friendships and relationships. Because at 13, like, I hope that you have a lot of boys that are friends, right? Like, I hope you get to be
Yes,
friends with
yes.
boys and
Right.
not just be like their girlfriend, boyfriend. So I don't know. It's interesting. The age thing it's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, that's definitely, it made an impression throughout my life.
Right.
It kind of like laid that foundation for
And
sure.
Macy, we're actually finding that in a lot of the movies that we've gone through, with there being an 8-year age difference between us, there
Right.
are a lot of different perspectives that we see in the movies. Well, the number one song on American Top 40 the week the movie came out was the song "If You Don't Know Me by Now" by
If you don't
Simply
know
Red.
me, I hated that song. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And you don't hear me say that I didn't like a song from the 80s very often. That's one
No.
I could not stand. And the video was awful. And it was during my MTV days, so I remember it. I did not care for that song at all.
I don't remember loving it, but I don't remember hating it
Yeah, I don't
either.
have an aversion. My dad was a big Simply Red fan.
Ugh.
I
Oh,
don't,
really?
yeah, I don't have an aversion to the song, but it wasn't one that I'm like, oh my God, that was the best song ever.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm. Well, on People magazine was a 63-year-old Hugh Hefner, and it was the cover of him getting married, and the headline read, and this is verbatim what it said. Yes, it's true. Last week's Playboy's Hugh Hefner, 63, vowed fidelity to a 26-year-old playmate for life, Kimberly Conrad. The bride wore white. Hey, she wore clothes. Next week, hell freezes over.
Clothes, meaning she didn't wear her bunny ears and tail.
Can you imagine something like that being on the front of a magazine now? Like a
Nope.
mainstream magazine?
I don't know. Do
Nope.
they even have magazines anymore?
I
Almost feel
know,
like they don't
gosh.
even
They
have
do.
them.
You know what they do? It's so funny. Like, I mean, you see them at the airport, and I'm always like, who buys magazines anymore? But I used to love magazines so much. Let me say this. This is interesting to me because for a few reasons. Um, Number one, I think 63 then seemed a lot older than 63 does now.
Well, I
When I,
sure hope so, because isn't Chris Washam 63?
I know, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. But like, and I actually looked at the cover of this and I was like, oh, Hugh doesn't look that old in this. But I loved the show on E, The Girls Next Door, which of course this was after he had been married to Kimberly and they had children and divorced, or actually they were separated, which is a whole nother part of the story. But I loved that show. Um, and it just gave this tiny little window into what life was like there. And I just thought it was really interesting. And in fact, I would always watch it. This was right around the time Savannah was born. And like when I would be up in the middle of the night with her, Girls Next Door would always be on. And I was like, great, I can just watch some Girls Next Door.
I remember seeing a few episodes of it, but it's nothing that I really watched. Again, I was in a totally different stage of my life.
Yeah.
But
It was fascinating. It was just fascinating to me.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
Did you watch it, Macy? Were you a fan?
I mean, not like religiously, like I didn't set my DVR for it or anything, like some of the shows that I have over the years. But it was like if it's on and I have nothing else, I'll watch it. But I wasn't like, I have to watch The Girls Next Door.
So,
Well, and
but I have a question. So, Amanda, so you said he was separated from Kimberly, but did he have the other three girls that lived with him there? Like, what was that all about?
Yeah, so there was a while, and really the only one he was in a relationship with was Holly. But he was separated. Kimberly moved in a house across the street because they didn't go for divorce because she wanted to stay married for the kids' sake. Once the kids turned 18, he filed for divorce. But
It's kind of like Sister Wives before Sister Wives.
exactly.
Except
Well,
it's not rooted in religion, I don't think.
No,
No,
I would say probably not.
But I loved Holly and Bridget, and they have a podcast now, so shout out to them called Girls Next Level, and they are
Wait, what's it
reviewing
called?
Girls Next Level,
Okay.
and they're reviewing all of the episodes, and I love
Oh,
listening
that would
to
be
that.
fun.
Mhm.
That might be fun to listen to.
And they give
Yeah.
all the inside scoop, and I really like them a lot, so that's
I
fun.
bet there is some scoop there. Well, in the world of TV, we had a real battle in the daytime talk shows. There were so many of them. Of course, you had Oprah, and by 1989, she was number one for sure. But there were some other names that were big. You had Phil Donahue, and there were 15 other top shows at the time. Can y'all guess any of the others? Can y'all guess some?
Geraldo?
Geraldo was one. Yes.
Jenny Jones.
Jenny Jones
Who's
was one.
Jones? Why don't you remember her?
She actually had the big scandal. It's a long story. I'll tell you about it sometime. But there
All
was a big brouhaha on
What
her
about
show.
Rosie O'Donnell?
Rosie O'Donnell was one.
No, Rosie didn't come to the 90s.
She was on the list I saw for 1989. So maybe it wasn't syndicated where we lived, but Rosie
Maybe.
O'Donnell was on the list that I saw.
Huh.
And then Sally Jesse
Oh,
Sally
yes.
Jesse Raphael.
Sally
with
with the red
her.
glasses. Yes.
Yes. So anyway, those were just a few, but it was a rage. I mean, the afternoons were filled with these daytime talk shows. And I have to say, I had a date with Oprah almost every afternoon at 4:00 with my covers, my Diet Coke, and glued to the TV for whatever she was going to share with me at that time.
Absolutely. I think at that point maybe we were not still recording Days of Our Lives. I don't know, but if we did, we probably watched Oprah and then watched our VHS recording of Days of Our Lives. So Macy, I know you know Missy and I love true crime.
Yes.
Are you a fan of true crime also?
I would say I am. And what is interesting, you know how like when you hang out with people, you become more like them. So I would say in the past 10 years of knowing Missy, I am much more of a true crime docu kind of girl. Like I spend time, like I go to Netflix and that's usually where I'm going. And I am, and I know Missy are, and Amanda, probably you, like I'm one of those girls, I could watch it and literally like fall asleep right after. Like it doesn't bother me. I don't have to like, I actually use it to decompress, which I know people think is crazy, but I mean, I love a good
true crime story.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing like it. And you're right, Macy. Men especially can't understand women watching these true crime shows and being able to like say, well, good night, give you a kiss on the lip, roll over and turn off the lights and have sweet dreams.
Well, my husband can because he watches them right there with me. Well, the reason I asked y'all is because there was a big case brewing in the news because actress Rebecca Schaeffer from the sitcom My Sister Sam was murdered by an obsessed fan, which which eventually led to stricter stalking laws in California. And I've listened to several podcast stories about it. It's so sad. I mean, she was like getting ready to go audition and she was waiting for the lines to be sent and he was
answered the door or something and
he shot her. Yeah.
And I think she had some encounters with him before and had tried to be kind to him. And I saw a documentary on it and it was heartbreaking. Yeah. But Rebecca Schaeffer, was she Mindy from Mork for Mork? I think she was Mindy.
Mm-mm.
No?
No, she's much younger. Was that Pamela Dawson? Don't ask me how I know that name.
Okay, Pamela Dawson was on My Sister Sam. She wasn't Rebecca Schaeffer.
Yeah, no, Rebecca Schaeffer was a young girl.
Right.
Like I want to say she was probably in her 20s when she
was very young. And this was like her first big break too.
Yeah, she was new on the scene.
Was that right? Was Pamela Dawson the right name? Why do I know this trivia?
I don't know.
That's a weird.
Were you a fan of Mork and Mindy?
I mean, I watched it, but I don't know that I would say.
But that you're right. That she was the big sister on My Sister Sam. Yep.
Well, I'll add some true crime when we talk about the movie that we're reviewing today. I've got some true crime to connect there.
Ooh, very exciting. Okay, so since I have already said it, I won't mention that the Berlin Wall did come down in 89.
Lord. Lord.
What I will tell you is something that you are not going to believe, y'all. I don't think. And this is blew my mind. I just didn't realize it. I had to actually look this up several times to convince myself that it was true. Seinfeld aired on NBC on July 5th, 1989. What? I can't even make that make sense in my mind. That means it took a lot of years to build an audience. Like I didn't start watching Seinfeld till 93 or 94. I had no idea it had been on since 89.
Well, if you go back, go ahead, Max.
No, I feel like that seems weird to me because if I graduated college in 89, it's been on, well, I mean, obviously it's not on, it's syndicated now, but for 35 years, like, I don't know, that just seems...
I know.
I feel like I would remember that show being on when I was in high school or college.
But
It
you know
didn't.
what's so funny is that as I remember watching it, like when my kids were young, Michael especially, Michael toddling around, it had been on for a while. Because if you go back and watch some of the beginning episodes, they're very different than the ones that I kind of became like immersed in. So I
Mhm.
guess it makes sense that they had started, you know, building the show and it just took a while for people to catch on and then it caught on like wildfire.
I'm glad that it didn't get canceled before they got to make it all the way through, like in those first years, because I had no idea it was a thing
Yeah.
until
No.
I started watching it later. So that really baffles me.
So again, asking Macy about if she's a true crime fan, Macy, we're huge Seinfeld fans. Are you a Seinfeld fan?
Oh yeah, I've seen every episode multiple
Multiple times.
times.
Oh,
I mean,
yes. It's
yes.
it's one of the best for sure
It's
to
one of those
quote.
like instead of Real Sisters Rewind, like you could come up with something like Seinfeld Sister. Like you
Sure.
literally could take that
And
show
make a
and make
podcast.
a podcast.
Yeah.
There may already be one. It wouldn't be as good as you all's, but you know.
It's so funny when we were recording with all our nephews, we recorded Christmas Vacation, and during one of our breaks, they were like, y'all could do a Seinfeld one because we all love it
Oh
so
yeah, I
much.
mean it's endless.
But I will say that summer, Tim Burton's Batman was released. It was June. I think it was June. It was a huge phenomenon, the movie, the soundtrack. And I remember it because it was such a big deal to my almost husband, right? We were getting ready to get married. And we went to the premiere the night that Batman was released, to the midnight premiere. And we actually were chosen out of the crowd to talk about the release of the movie and how we liked it. And so there was a write up in us about us talking about it in the Hattiesburg
Did
American.
you cut it out? Do you still have it?
Oh, I guarantee you, Chris
It's in a
Washam has it
box. Yeah, it's
somewhere.
in a
It's in
box
a
somewhere.
vault. It's in a box. It wouldn't have surprised me if he would have said, "Let's frame it." It's not framed.
That was a big deal. I definitely saw it in theaters and the soundtrack was amazing because because Prince was, I don't know if he was did all of the songs, but it was definitely had Prince and it was so popular and the video would come on MTV all the time and it was just like, you would just watch it like a movie and Kim Basinger was in it and Jack Nicholson. And it was really, I think, brought back that genre of like comic book um type movies. So it was a big deal.
So I guess now we should say, gee, thanks. Even though that movie was good, it seems like that's all we get anymore. All these Marvel
I know.
superhero movies.
But the
Oh,
weird thing is, like, I remember seeing that in theaters, but I can't remember seeing When Harry Met Sally in theaters. And like, Batman has no relevance to my life whatsoever.
It was a big deal though.
Bizarre.
Also, isn't that the Batman where it was Michael Keaton was the Batman?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. All right, well, let's get into the movie When Harry Met Sally. It was written by Nora Ephron and directed by Rob Reiner. What a duo.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
we have to talk about Rob Reiner for a minute because, in a way, and I don't know if you guys knew this, I didn't until I was doing the research. Harry is actually written about Rob's life. Like, y'all know
Oh,
who Rob Reiner is, right?
yeah.
Like, he was the son and All in the Family. And he had been married for 10 years to Penny Marshall, Laverne from Laverne and Shirley, which
And
I
I
was
feel
a
like I
huge
forgot
fan.
that. I forgot that part.
Yes, he has. And they had been divorced for 10 years. And so I think he had like been in the market, like trying to find someone for 10 years. And he just didn't think he'd meet anyone. And so he wanted to create a movie on the hardships of dating after marriage. And he talked to Nora Ephron about it. And that was the, genesis of this movie.
Was this one of Nora Ephron's first movies? Do you
Yes, it
know? Yeah, it
was.
was. Okay.
Yes, it was, which kind of began that
Yep.
genre
Yeah.
Yeah, it
of
makes sense.
her flicks. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I meant earlier when I was saying, oh, was kind of the first of its, rom-com. Of course, it wasn't the first rom-com, but the two of them pairing up
Right.
for this type and the structure that they typically have in their movies. It's funny too, Missy, that was like you said, the genesis for this film, because even though that is a very prevalent part of the film, it's not, I think if you don't know that and you're stepping back and you watch it as a whole, that's not the big takeaway. It's
Right.
the relationship with Harry and Sally, of course. So
Right.
anyway, interesting. The movie has a runtime of 1 hour and 35 minutes, which is like the sweet spot for me with movies. An hour and 30, we're good. And it's rated R, mostly because of the unforgettable diner scene. And I also think there's an F-bomb that Meg Ryan throws out at one point where she's really annoyed. So
Yeah.
that
I
probably
think so.
contributed
I think
to
so
the.
too. When Harry Met Sally was created, it had a budget of 16 million. And at the box office, it pulled in over 92 million. And that was a huge win without any explosion or huge action scenes.
Definitely. Plus, it's become such a classic. The movie earned several award nominations, including an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Screenplay for Nora Ephron's writing. Nora Ephron, what a gem.
And although she had a couple of movies, like you had said, Macy, this one in particular really set her career in the trajectory of being known as that queen of creating romantic comedies, right? She had a way of creating biting wit and combining it with strong female characters in a way that audiences loved.
Yeah. And, we have to mention the cast. Billy Crystal was already a big name, and Meg Ryan was just starting to become America's sweetheart. But did y'all realize that she wasn't even the first choice for Sally?
No, I didn't know
Mhm.
I did
that. Oh
not.
my God, there's no
Mhm.
one else who could have played that part.
I know. Well, they
Who
thought
was it?
about
Who was it?
Molly Ringwald.
No, no. Oh,
Never.
no, no. That would
Never.
have
No.
been horrible.
And it's hard to picture. And I love Molly Ringwald in roles that she is in, but
Right,
Oh, yeah.
not for this.
right.
It's hard to picture anyone else in either of those roles because the chemistry between Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan was one of my favorite things about the film. And I absolutely loved that Billy Crystal was cast as the guy, like the opposite of the female. Because he was just like a normal looking guy. Like he wasn't the movie star type looks that you
Right.
think are just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
he was like a normal guy. And it just made it so much more relatable. And again, the duo of Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan was kind of like an unexpected chemistry that I think also made it really special. And Meg Ryan, of course, is just adorable.
And just to mention, there were two notable nominations for the movies. They were Golden Globe nominations for Best Performance for an actor and an actress in a comedy, of course, for Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. And they both won the funniest actor and actress at the American Comedy Awards. But actually, Carrie Fisher, who plays Sally's friend Marie, she won the same award that they won, except for supporting actress.
Now that is a supporting actress award I can get on board with, as opposed to Corey Feldman. Remember from our Gremlins episode?
Yes.
What?
Like, yes, she definitely deserved it more than Corey Feldman did in Gremlins. You're right.
But wait, I have to say something here real quick. So, because you just brought up Carrie Fisher, of course, we've talked about Meg Ryan. They are both in some more of these films, like Nora Ephron. Like we see them in some of the later films too. Like I feel like they cast Billy Crystal's not, but I feel like they cast some of the same people in their films
Carrie
moving forward.
Fisher will forever be Princess Leia
Oh,
to me. I
I
can't see her
know.
without
in anything
question.
else. I mean,
Yes.
it's hard to imagine her being cast for anything else after that role because that's all I see. That's
That's
all
right.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
interesting, Amanda, that you say that, because obviously we could list a lot of other movies that Meg Ryan was in, but all these years later, I saw the one and I don't even know what name it was. And I was so excited to see it. It was with Meg Ryan and David Duchovny, and they were going to be trapped in an airport because of a snowstorm.
Yes.
It
Yes.
was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my
Snooze
life.
fest.
It was just, there was nothing there. It was just horrible. It was awful. And I was like so disappointed because we hadn't seen Meg Ryan in so many years. Then we saw her in what is supposed to be her true genre, and it was a total flop. It was horrible.
Do you know what I think
oh,
happened with that movie, though? I think it was filmed in the middle of COVID. And so they did it basically in this empty airport. It was, and I think it was
Well,
just to
they
get a
should have
movie
kept it.
out. Yeah,
They
just
should
to
have
get a
kept it in
movie
an
out.
empty airport because it was horrible.
How
well,
do you
good
really feel,
thing.
Macy?
Exactly. Good thing there is so much to love about this movie
Yes.
from the cast to the writing. So let's get going and dive into When Harry Met Sally.
All right, let's start from the very beginning. Our journey starts in 1977 when Sally, as we've already said, is played by Meg Ryan, is offering Harry, Billy Crystal, a ride from Chicago to New York. They've just graduated, and honestly, it's pretty clear right away they don't like each other, right? When she drives up to get him, he is making out with his girlfriend Amanda, who is actually the one who set the ride up.
I know.
It
Oh,
was
and
kind of cringy.
yes,
Yeah, it was
definitely.
like overkill for sure. Like
Yeah.
it was just a lot.
Yeah, she was like, but I have to say, because you said it starts in 1977, one of the best things to me about this movie, or that I really enjoyed even from the first time I saw it, is how they go through the years and their appearance changes.
Yes.
Like in the
Yeah.
Yes.
1977, she's got the feathered hair and the
Right.
like walking shorts, and that was really fun to watch how they did that. That was
And
cool.
I want to say one other thing here. As you know, we watch movies, Amanda, and we kind of think about who would be a great fit. When I realized it was a girl, cute girl, who was graduating college and moving to New York to start her career, I couldn't help but think of Macy because that's exactly what you did, Macy, right? Like
It is. I
you
moved to New York right
graduated
after
from
college. Yeah.
Syracuse and went to New York and lived in the Big Apple and has incredible stories about that. And so, again, thank you for
Macy,
showing up and walking with us.
did you move to New York right after that? Like because of was your job there, or were you there looking for a job, or what?
No, well, I did get a job right after college working at a news station, but it was super early in the morning and I was still commuting from New Jersey to New York, and I would have to like get to the bus stop at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Like that didn't work. So I didn't move literally the day after college. It was a year after when I found a
You
roommate and I got a job and all of
you made the
that. But
move.
I made the
Yeah.
move.
Oh,
Yeah.
so cool. Well, I love in this movie how they set up the personalities of Harry and Sally so quickly. As soon as they hit the road, she's trying to explain the plan she's created for driving the hours or the mileage or whatever. Meanwhile, he is like reaching over her, grabbing a snack of grapes from the back. And he's like eating his grapes while she's trying to explain. He spits the seeds out. They hit the window. Of course, she's disgusted. Um, Harry is really just sarcastic and cynical, and he just can't seem to look at anything without some level of pessimism. He's very cut and dry. He just says it like it is. And then we have Sally, who is super type A, right down to how she orders her food. She knows what she wants. She's not afraid to say it. And oh my goodness, her detailed instructions when they stopped at the diner to grab a bite still makes me laugh. Like when I watched it again this time, I was cracking up.
You guys, like this is one of my all-time favorite scenes in the movie of any movie because I could be like Sally. I'll
You
have the
are
pie.
like Sally.
I'll have the pie, but if you don't have the pie, I'll take the cheesecake, but only if the sauce is on the side. First of all, I'm a big on the side. Everything is on the side. Salad dressing on the, like everything is on the side.
This is true.
And this type of personality obviously is going to drive Harry crazy because this is not who he is. But I mean, I am a girl known to have a complicated order, and I have backups to my order in case
In
like
case it
Sally,
doesn't
like
work
if she
out.
doesn't have the pie and she wants the cheesecake, if they don't have the pie, I'll have to have a backup order.
Yeah.
I have to say that she is true. And I've even heard her kids under their breath as she's ordering complicated order, complicated order.
Well,
Yeah.
Harry would say you're high maintenance because
Well,
that's
hey,
what
listen, it is what it is. Listen, it is what it is then.
Oh, but we love you, Macy, and you
Well,
do
thanks.
know what you want, and you want it like you want it.
that's
That
right.
is true.
Just like
That's a good
Sally.
thing.
Yeah.
That's good then. We get into Harry's infamous theory here where he says that men and women can't be friends because, well, sex always gets in the way. And Sally is just having none of it. She's just, and you can see she just thinks it's ridiculous. And, she's like, I have lots of guy friends. And y'all, I have to say, from the moment that I saw this film, I began to ponder that question through forever.
I feel like a lot of people did, right? Like I think from this movie, this point in the movie when she completely challenges him about this, and by the time they get to New York, they're like, bye, have a nice life, right? We're never going to see each other. And I wonder if it's because she realizes maybe he was right, that they can't
Yeah,
be just
she's
friends, right?
wondering.
She's wondering.
Because I think his point, which, we're female, I don't know, his point is you might think that you're just friends, but on the guy's end,
Right.
it's different.
It's
Yes.
different. They see it differently.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say about this scene is when she drops him off and basically they shake hands and, say, have a nice life. I was looking at the big, almost like monument, I guess, that's there. And it favors in its look Columbus Circle, but it's not, it's Washington Square.
Yeah. Washington
And
Square
I
Park.
went to look and you can actually see the Twin Towers between it in the background. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But anyway, it's here, and then actually throughout the movie, there's a little segue, and it's these charming outtakes of couples sharing their love stories. Most of them are older couples, but FYI, these were real couples, real people sharing their real stories about how they fell in love. And the interviews, they act as interludes between the movie's main scenes, right? And they offer a glimpse into various forms of relationships and what they look like. And the couples range in age and background, and each recount how they met, how they fell in love, and they share stories that are just funny and heartwarming. And I love this kind of addition weave into the film.
Yeah. I loved it
I,
too.
yeah, me too. And I do love, I mean, of course, it makes it even more special because it is, like you said, most of them are older. So they end up saying they've been married. And it's typically there are a lot of years they've been married. And that just is so heartwarming. I love that part so much. In fact, I think it was the first time I had seen that structure in a film. Um, but I do feel like we've seen it again since then. I can't pinpoint it, but
I loved it too. I always say, like, to my husband, I say this oftentimes, like, I love a good love story, but ours is my favorite.
oh, tell us yours.
Here's
Well,
our little vignette.
oh, okay. Here's our little vignette. So, my husband and I actually met when we were in our late 20s. We were introduced by my sister, and we lived in different cities and states. He lived in, Philly. I lived in New York, and he would travel. I would travel every other weekend back and forth. Fast forward, we had broken up after not being together for a long time. We had broken up, and then we moved really across states. I moved to Arizona, and he moved to Florida, and we did not talk for years. I think it was like I don't know, 6 or 8 years we didn't talk. And then one day out of the blue, I sent an email from my Hotmail. This is back in the day when like Hotmail was the thing. And yeah, we got reconnected. He flew out to take me home, and then I moved to Florida. So it is one of those. I think our love story is one that could be one of those cute little
It
vignettes in the
is, but
movie.
you forgot one of the cutest parts of the vignette that I've heard you share before is that when he walked in the room, what did you look at someone and tell them?
Oh, when we first met, you mean when we first met? So
Yeah, I love this.
we hadn't officially met. I was at a pizza place with my roommate from college. We were out of college, but she was down the shore visiting me. And this guy walks into this pizza place, and I looked at her and I said, I'm going to marry that guy. And she's like, who is it? I'm like, I have no idea who it is. I have no idea who it is. And then it turns out that it was my sister's best friend who was actually coming down the shore to stay with us. So, yeah.
So you
How
just
cool
knew.
is that,
I
sister?
just knew.
That is so incredible. Something about him. You just knew.
Yeah.
All right, so
That's
while
so
we're
precious.
having vignettes, Amanda, why don't you share yours?
Eric and I met, we actually met in college and went on some dates, and just two very different personalities. And we were, well, I mean, we thought we were very different personalities, I guess at the time we were. And but we went about our way. We stayed in the same circle of friends, and um years later, after my divorce, and then he was divorced and our kids were still really young, our very dear friend said, "We got to set y'all back up." And so we went on our first date. And then a year to the date of that first date, we blended our families and we got married.
So
So sweet.
sweet. So
Mm-hmm.
sweet.
Miss,
Yep.
what about you?
So for me, I was a junior in college and I had adopted a healthy lifestyle. And I was out at the Healthplex one night and I met this cute guy and he started kind of taking me around to machines. And I thought he was super cute and super sweet. But he was a good bit older than me, 8 years. So I was 19 and he was 27. Long story short, a whole summer of flirting. And he runs into one of my cousins at a football game and says, "You ought to take out my cousin." And the next week, he asked me out, and we went to dinner and to see an 80s movie, A Fish Called Wanda, which we might have to review. And I remember, Macy, kind of similar to your story, I came back to the dorm and I plopped on my bed, and all my sorority sisters came in because they knew I had had a crush on him all summer. And I said, I'm going to marry him. And sure enough, I did. So,
And I would say the two of you have very different personalities.
yeah, we do have very different personalities, but they work.
Yeah.
They work.
Missy, when you were getting into your healthy lifestyle,
The first time of many.
yeah. Were you now?
I get healthy at least once a decade.
No, I've
Now-
known you for 10 years. You've gotten healthy a few times in our friendship.
Yeah. During that time, is that when you started your V shredding?
Shut up.
I don't think I know that story. It's the story for another day. But
It's
I'm
a story
intrigued.
from another day.
I'm intrigued.
I bought a little app like 2 years ago called V Shred, and
She was so excited.
I've used it all of maybe 0 times.
Because he's not even told me about it. So, I mean,
She thought it was like, I'm going to start the new year. I kept asking her.
I mean, it is the new year. So go ahead. Maybe you could. It's the new year.
Started?
So maybe you need to start it again.
Started your V shred. Started.
Okay.
Every time I would talk to her.
So now the V Shred is a joke, but you know what? We need to get back to when Harry met Sally.
Sorry. Okay, so we had 5 years to 1982. Harry and Sally run into each other at the airport. She's got
I
a new
love
look.
this scene.
I do
I just
too.
have to say, I love this scene.
Yeah, this is cute.
she's got a new look because it's now 1982. And the roles are a little bit reversed. Sally's the one, she's making out with her boyfriend Joe in the airport, kind of
And
like
last
Harry
time
was.
he was making out
Yes.
with his girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but Harry knew Joe and was like, "Oh, Joe, is that you?" And so they kind of strike up a quick conversation, and she was thankful that Harry didn't recognize her. Like she didn't say anything. She recognized him, she didn't say anything, and she
Yeah,
was glad he didn't.
but then Harry overhears her complicated drink order, right? And he's like, I know that complicated order. And then, of course, the man next to Sally offers to switch seats with Harry so the old friends can sit next to each other on the plane.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they sit next to each other. She obviously didn't want to. And so they had this polite yet somewhat distant conversation. Harry is actually about to get married, and Sally seems pretty content with her life too. Still, after the plane lands, they part ways again, and they're still two totally different lives at this point.
Although Harry does try to chat it up with her on the walking sidewalk. He even offers to for them to go to dinner. He was like, "Oh, you staying over? Or we should have dinner."
She's like, no, thank
No.
you.
Yeah, she's so
That would be no.
resolute. Like her personality is just so she just has such resolve. Yes.
Decisive, like
Mm-hmm.
my friend Macy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well, 5 more years pass, and here we are in 1987, and Sally is at lunch with her friends. Alice, who is played by Lisa Jane Persky, and Marie by Princess Leia herself, Carrie Fisher. And the ladies are talking about Sally's recent breakup with Joe and how she hasn't dated anyone since. And um, now she looks, her hair's curly, and it's a totally different look. But it's really funny listening to them about all of them talking about like getting back out there and how there's
Because
no
Joe is
men
who she was kissing in the
at the
airport.
airport. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And then I love like Carrie Fisher's character. She just pulls out the Rolodex, right? Like, let me go through all of my numbers to see who I could set Sally up with. I love a good Rolodex. I wish people still use Rolodex.
I know. And here's the funny thing about the Rolodex too, that I don't know why it just tickled me this time. I'd noticed it before, but when her friend says, "Oh, he got married last year," she doesn't take his number out of the Rolodex. She just folds the corner
folded it
down.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell y'all, I never had a friend that carried around a Rolodex like that in her purse, but I did have a girl in college that I went with that she carried around one of those flat pop-up address books. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Your grandmothers might have had it,
Oh,
and you could click, click, click from A, B,
Oh,
C,
yeah,
D, E,
yeah,
F,
yeah.
and then you punched it and it would pop open. I have a friend who carried one with her everywhere she went.
those
guys
were
don't-
metal.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were heavy.
But don't
Not the
make fun of
music.
me. I still have an address book. Like I know it's all supposed to be digital on our phone, but I still have an address book that I keep updated. When people move, I cross it out and I put their new address in there.
So does our mom, Lottie. She has got her address book and it's got so many cross outs and rewrites, but it is kind of fun to look at it, I have to say.
Mom had one of those pop up
Oh, yeah.
address books.
So did both our grandmothers. They
by the
all
landline.
sat by the landline and you just click, click, click and pop and click, click, click and pop. Yep.
So funny.
Absolutely. Okay, back to the movie. When while all this is happening with Sally and her breakup with the friends, then we see we see Harry having a serious conversation with his friend Jess during a football game about his impending divorce. And I loved the contrast of the guys having this deep conversation, like so serious.
Yes.
During the time when the crowd is doing the wave and
Right.
they keep standing up and
Yes.
doing the wave, but they never miss a beat on their conversation, but they're also not going to miss the wave. Like they're not going to let the crowd
It is so
down.
true. Like we're just going to keep talking serious, stand up and do the wave and keep talking serious.
Yeah. And then the next time Harry and Sally bump into each other, they're at a bookstore in New York. And this time they're both single.
Ah,
Yes, and Sally looks so cute in this scene. This is like from here on out, I just think she is always dressed so adorable. she was just, and maybe that's another reason I loved this movie so much at this age. Like, I loved the way she looked in this movie, and it was just inspiring to me as a teenager, like, oh, wanting to look like her. But they've both been through heartbreak, and we get to see them actually start to build a real friendship. And it's interesting because they handle their heartbreak very differently. This is when we see one of the beautiful shots of them walking through New York in the fall with the leaves, and we get several of these throughout the film. And Sally always has on, like I said, the most adorable put together outfits in these scenes. It's just so cute.
It is so cute. But I have to stop and ask you, Macy, like, do you have memories of when you lived in New York? Because I know you did a lot of walking then, of taking in that
Oh, yeah.
beauty of the seasons, because of
Oh,
course in the
yes.
South we miss that. In Florida you don't see it anymore, but it's so breathtaking and really like picturesque.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many times that I would walk home from work and it would take me hours. I mean, 2.5 hours. But I did it because it's such a nice night out. I'm going to walk home from work. Why take that? Because then you go home from work and what are you doing, right? So especially Monday through Wednesday. Now Thursday, Friday, Saturday, different story. But Monday through Wednesday, you just kind of walk. And then even on the weekends, like if I didn't have anything planned, when I would wake up, go get my bagel and then just walk the streets. That's just what you did there. You just kind of roam around.
And
Yeah.
Amanda, you lived there a short time. Do you
Yep.
have memory of that? Because you were there at that time of the
In the
changing of the
fall.
seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, it's beautiful. And also, I think to that, Macy, is, you know, the vast majority of people are living in tiny apartments. And
Right.
so, yeah, you're going to be out and about, walking around, popping in stores, sitting
Now,
down somewhere having a coffee, because otherwise you're just like in your
you're in
tiny
your
apartment.
apartment. Yeah. When I lived there, I mean, cell phones were really new. I mean, I had a BlackBerry when I lived there. Um, so it wasn't like it is now where you're always on your phone. Like your phone was in your pocket or your pocketbook, right? Like you're not walking the streets of New York texting people. You literally are taking it all in. But I'll never forget when I left New York after I moved out, and then I had to go back after I lived in Florida. I went back for a funeral. And the one thing that was so striking to me is how no one was looking up.
Mm.
No one looked up. Everyone was heads down in their phone, AirPods in. Well, it was
Yep.
even before AirPods, just headphone. And I don't know, I haven't been there in years, but that was so shocking to me is that you are in this beautiful city and nobody was taking it in anymore. That part of it was taken away from having a phone and heads down all the
Mm.
time. It was really, really obvious to me when I went back to visit.
So
That's interesting.
interesting.
And it's
So
also
interesting.
sad.
It is
Yeah,
sad.
it's sad.
It
Yeah.
is sad. And I will say, when we went last Thanksgiving, I tried to be very intentional not to have my phone out in those type of moments because I wanted to take it all in. But
Yeah.
anyway, back to the movie. I will say that this portion of the movie was my favorite. When we see them, they're both finally single. They're having amazing moments. We're getting to watch their friendships grow, and we see things like with them both on the phone, watching the same movie from separate apartments. And so funny how they like did a split screen of that. It reminded me something like out of a Cary Grant movie in the 40s or something, right? They were eating out and walking around New York City. And as I said, this is the part of the movie that I just really loved seeing.
Me too. And it reminded me of the days when we would stay on the phone with our friends for hours, and we would be on the phone. We're like watching the same thing and talking about it, or maybe we're not watching anything, we're just talking, but you would just be on the phone for hours chatting and with your friend or boyfriend or whatever. And it was so fun.
Well, funny that you say it reminded you. I mean, I feel like Missy and I do that now. Like, you want to get on Zoom and just work together and not work together. But fun fact I have for you girls that this movie was actually filmed over an entire year to get all of the scenes as far as the different seasons right.
Oh,
So they
cool.
they didn't pretend to get the vibe right. It really was a true vibe.
Well, that's really interesting. And it really is one of my favorite parts of the movie. I feel like the scenery is almost a character
Mm-hmm.
of its own. It's just so beautiful. And it makes you want to go to New York. I feel like it makes you want to be there. Okay, we can't skip the famous diner scene.
Oh,
And
goodness. Here
yep,
it
yep.
comes.
It is one of the most famous scenes in any movie. Harry and Sally are debating on whether or not women can, well, fake it. And Sally decides to prove him wrong because he's like, he had been with a woman the night before and was like, oh, it was fantastic, whatever. And Sally's like, yeah, right. And she, like I said, decides to prove him wrong right there at the table in the diner.
And she did not
And
hold back. I mean,
no,
she went for it.
yep.
She was
And
all in, as they
Yeah, she
say.
was.
you can't help but laugh. I mean, it's so funny, or maybe feel a little uncomfortable. I don't know, but I think it's hilarious. And fascinating fact is that Meg Ryan came up with the idea that this conversation in this actual scene where she fakes it should happen in a crowded restaurant so that it's even more sort of like,
Taboo,
people.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and then
yes.
here's the thing, the woman in the restaurant who says one of the most famous lines of any movie, actually, I'll have what she's having. That woman was actually Rob Reiner's mom.
And Missy Billy Crystal is the one that came up with that line. And then they had Rob Reiner's mom do it. But he said that they
Gotcha.
should have somebody say,
Oh, yeah,
I'll
it
have
was a
what she's
great
having.
line. Yes.
hmm This part of the movie was so famous that People magazine actually did an article on it, y'all, and it was filmed in the famous Cat's Deli.
Okay, so you guys remember at the beginning when we were talking about true crime, I had said, oh, if we're going to talk about this one part of the movie, I have a true crime fascinating fact.
Yes, do
So
tell.
when I don't I don't remember the year that this crime took place. It had to have been before I lived in New York, I think. So when I lived there, I worked with this woman whose best friend was one of the dancers from Dirty Dancing. Okay. Not the main girl, because I know you guys reviewed Dirty Dancing, not Penny, but she was one of the dancers. She was actually wearing, and she sticks out in the crowd. She was wearing it was a blue top with black polka dots. You could easily spot her out in.
I'll
Mhm.
totally go be
Yeah.
watching that. Okay.
And you'll see her. Well, she actually was murdered above Katz's Deli in a drug bust gone wrong. Not a drug bust, in a drug deal gone
Oh,
wrong.
wow.
Yes. So she and I want to say like three or four, there's a documentary on it, New York True Crime or Real Crime or something. It was on Netflix. So you could go check it out. But that happened just on a regular night above Katz's Deli.
So it's like apartments above Cat's Deli?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, in almost every street in New York, you have to maximize your space. So all of those
Right.
stores that are
Or
on the bottom,
above.
except for like Bloomingdale's, it's like
Right,
6 stories
right.
tall. But like every restaurant, dry cleaner, bagel shop, they're all apartments above it.
Gotcha.
I lived above when I lived there. I lived above a laundromat place where you
Got
drop off
it.
your laundry, which made it really
And
convenient.
so
But yeah,
you
so
knew someone who knew her, Macy.
yes, I worked with her very best friend.
Oh,
Oh
gosh.
gosh.
Now,
So
again, this happened before I worked with the
right,
girl.
right, right. So here's a question for you, and I don't know, maybe we should look and see. But I saw this too, but I thought it was Carnegie Deli, but maybe not.
Oh, maybe it.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I for some reason, because I was like, oh, I've
maybe
been
it
there.
was
Either
Carnegie,
way,
and
it
I'm
was one of
wrong,
the
but it
delis.
just reminded me, right?
Yeah. It was one
Maybe
of
it
the
was
delis.
Carnegie.
Also, Macy, you saying that about your apartment being over the laundromat, that was smart because it probably smelled good. Because I always think if it's right above a restaurant, your apartment might smell like the food from the restaurant.
Well, Missy knows this about me, Amanda. You don't know this, but I really am afraid and like fearful of rats. Part of the reason that I have goosebumps just talking about it, when I worked one of the places that I worked was above a Chinese food restaurant, and you could literally hear the rats in
Oh my
the
gosh.
walls up and
Mm-mm.
down. I know we are really off topic, so we've got to move on, but I was
Well,
trying. I think you're right now that you said that, Amanda.
Mhm.
I do think it was
Mm.
Carnegie Deli, but instead of Katz, but they're all kind of the same.
yeah.
Okay. Yes,
A
Yeah.
deli,
totally.
a good New York deli is a
A
good New
good New
York
York
deli.
deli.
And
Yes.
I'll tell you, we may have gotten off subject, but I do think, and I think you said it, Amanda, at the beginning of the podcast, that the New York is a character in this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So we want to go deep there, which is why we wanted a New York gal to be
To
on
be
here
on.
with us. Right. But as we move along, Harry and Sally are spending more and more time together. And it's approaching the holiday season, which I love the holiday season in New York. And they're buying Christmas trees together and attending New Year's parties. And the chemistry is undeniable, but they're still, they're still just friends. But I have to say something about the New Year's party. When she's got that side ponytail on the
Oh my
front of
God,
her
the
head,
It's
worst.
and
hysterical.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it couldn't be more 80s than
Yes.
that side ponytail at that New Year's Eve party.
It's perfect. Well, technically nothing has happened between them. And I do have to say, I meant to say this earlier and I got distracted. But when they had that very first conversation where they were walking through after they met at the bookstore and they were becoming friends, and here they explicitly state, like he says, "Oh, I think you're going to be my first female friend," or something like that along that
Right,
line.
right, yeah.
They
Mhm.
like establish that. And as they move along, they really do, like, nothing has happened between them to like elude or show that they are more than friends. Like, they are just friends, even though we can
Right,
see the chemistry.
right.
I love that scene though, Missy. You were talking about the New Year's and the ponytail, and you can really, speaking of the chemistry that we see that they supposedly are just friends, you can feel that chemistry and tension between
Oh,
them.
it's palpable.
Uh-huh, when they're dancing, and they make a pact that if neither of them have a date the next New Year's, they'll go together again. And so then we know something's a brewing.
Yeah. And then we had that like hilarious double date disaster when Harry and Sally try to set up each other with their best friend, right? Jess and Marie. And
Yes,
then
yes.
instead of like them hitting it off, Jess and Marie fall for each other. That was funny.
That was funny, and it like actually worked out perfect that they hit it off, because then it kind of gave them a connection to stay together. But they do hit it off and they're inseparable, and that leaves Harry and Sally awkwardly watching this new romance bloom.
And I really loved, girls, how the film showcased all these relationships evolving, right? And speaking of evolving, things take a turn after Sally finds out that her ex Joe is getting married to the paralegal he works with, Kimberly, as she says. Look, she has a breakdown. She can't handle it. And who does she call over to vent? She calls Harry.
I just
Yeah,
remember all the tissues. Like I just remember there were so
tissues everywhere.
Yes, it reminded me actually of You've Got Mail, when she's like in her robe and she's got all the tissue and she's crying and Tom Hanks comes over. It was very reminiscent of that.
It is. And it was a big deal that she was so upset about Joe, because she's always been so okay about the breakup
Yes.
yeah.
forever. And so this was like a big deal that she finally broke down about it.
Yeah, and then she realizes, it wasn't that Joe didn't want to get married. It was that he didn't want to marry her. It's like that whole it's not
Oh,
you, it's me thing. And you just
yes.
know, like, I know
Oh,
I've been there before, like with a boy and they break up and then 2 weeks later they're with someone else. And it's like, but you said you wanted to be alone. No, that's not,
Yes.
it is so heartbreaking when
it's
you're,
heartbreaking. I mean, I even, hear like, even not even the marriage thing, but like, oh, I don't want a relationship right now. And just like you said, Macy, then you turn
yeah.
around and they're like, got a girlfriend. It's really sad. It is it is a really raw and emotional scene when Harry comes over to the apartment to comfort her, and they end up kissing. And well, they spend the night together, and that leads to a whole new set of complications. And I was just thinking in that scene, it's so awkward because he's told her these thoughts he has about laying there thinking, when can I get up? How long do I have to lay here? I'm like, is she thinking
Yes.
about that? But she doesn't seem to be. She seems to be fine. She's like, let me get
All
some water.
snuggled up. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
but I was thinking that the whole time, like, oh my gosh, she knows all about
She knows
what
what
he's
he
thinking.
thinks. Yes. And
Yeah.
he panics and things get really awkward between them quickly. Sally is heartbroken, which leads to them like not speaking.
So,
It's tough. And this is one of the reasons why it's if you do have a male female friendship, you've got to be really careful because you can lose a good friend that way, and it's tough. It's a tough moment. You can see that they're both really hurting, but they just can't get on the same page emotionally. They call their friends to vent, and of course, it's with a bit of comic relief. And that phone scene, you know what I'm talking about, y'all, where it's the four of them all on
yeah.
the phone at the same time. Like she
Again,
calls,
very like Cary Grant 40-ish.
yeah,
Like where
yeah.
something would happen. Yeah.
She calls her friend, he calls his friend, but they're in bed together. Of course, they're on their own lines. And I actually read that phone call scene with the four of them took 60 takes to get it right.
Oh, wow.
And it
Yeah.
was worth it because it was really well done.
It's pure greatness. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, they're forced to interact again as best man and maid of honor at Jess and Marie's wedding. And like, it is so, you want to talk about cringe, right? It is so awkward. Like, you could cut the
Yes.
tension with a knife. And when he asks if she's seeing anyone, she tells him not to go there and storms out.
She was not having it. And her throughout this whole movie, but towards the end, I really started seeing like her facial expressions were so good. You can just read what she's feeling by the look on her face. And I love that. And this now takes us to the grand finale. It's New Year's Eve again. Sally is at a party and Harry's not. He's walking the streets of New York, realizing that he's in love with her. And I do have to say, before we get to this finale, kind of have to like say, in defense of Harry, he has been almost like harassingly stalking her up to this point, trying to apologize, like leaving messages and saying he's sorry and please talk to me. And he's realized like he misses her friendship, he misses her. And she ices him out. She's strong.
Yes. And after he has this realization, he races to the party and he tells her he loves her and he delivers that amazing line. When you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. It's just perfect, y'all.
It is.
Oh,
It's like one of the best movie lines ever.
it really is. And that whole speech, I feel like set the bar for guys out there right then and there. Like if you're gonna go profess your love, you better know why you love her, and you better be able to list out the reasons. He starts
Yes.
listing out all these quirky things about her, and that's why he loves her. And it's just so heartwarming.
And if
So
I'm not
sweet.
mistaken, I think he does like that she orders everything on the side. I'm just saying.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
one of the things he likes about her is
that's
the
right.
way that he orders. So anyway, Sally tries to resist at first, but she cannot deny anymore. They are madly in love. They kiss, and that is the start of their forever.
And this ending isn't what was originally written, ladies. It was actually originally supposed to be a sad ending with them passing like ships in the night and having just another chance encounter years later, much like they did on the airplane, etc. But during the filming, Rob Reiner met his current wife. They've now been married over 35 years, by the way. And he asked Nora to rewrite the ending and change it to a happy one.
Oh, thank goodness, because a chance meeting ending would have been too sad and a really big missed opportunity
Yeah, I
for
mean, I
such a
think
fantastic movie.
this is so helpful, right? It gave so many people
Yes.
hope that if you're just going to do a chance meeting, then it almost becomes like serendipity, right? Like how many chance meetings before, or sliding doors, right? Like this just
Yes.
was such a hopeful love story.
Yes. I loved it. I loved the ending.
And then we see one more of the adorable couple interviews. It's Harry and Sally, and they're talking about their wedding. And it's very Harry and Sally, and as far as the wedding goes. And you can just see the joy and the friendship and the love. And it's a really sweet way to wrap things up. So, girls, ladies, when we finish going through a movie, we always talk about how or if the movie measures up in today's world, if we feel the same as we felt back then about the movie as we do now. I'll go first.
Okay, go first.
I love it just as much now as I did then. I loved it the first time I watched it. Like I said, it really just lived in my heart forever. I just thought it was so sweet and cute and yeah, I just loved it. And it's just the same now as it was then. I love it just as much.
Okay, Mayce.
I would say the same. I am such a sucker for a good rom-com, and there are a lot that take place now that don't even hold a candle. I mean, this one is a timeless, watch it whenever it's on. It's not on enough. Like so, so, so good. One of my faves.
Yeah. I think now they're either super hokey or they go off on some strange tangent, political tangent, and you have this weird kind of ending. It leaves you like perhaps this movie might have left us had it not been rewritten. But I think it's perfection when it comes to rom-coms. And yeah, I think, men and women are who we are down to our DNA and our core. And we've got to find a way to meet and get together and hopefully have that happy ever after. And I thought that one did it.
I also think that Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan did such an amazing job of just bringing such realistic emotion to their characters, because it really is just a lot of Harry and Sally. And they did a really fabulous job making us feel what they were feeling.
Yeah, connected to
And
them.
I want to ask, as we go off one more question, can men and women be friends?
Mm.
I'm going to say, like, personally, I wouldn't want to be there. Like, I have enough friends that are women, and I have my husband. Like, I don't know. I just don't even think it's necessary.
I think men and women can be friends from afar, but once you're married, I think that your significant other has to be that male friend for you. I just think.
But then you aren't really friends. That would be more of an acquaintance.
Yeah.
I think they can.
You do?
I think you can. I think you can. I mean, I think, you have to.
I think it would get complicated.
Yeah, it could be very complicated. It could be. Well, if you've never seen When Harry Met Sally, or if you're looking for the perfect movie to wind down after all the hustle and bustle of the holidays, why not grab your favorite champagne or cider, pop the cork, and ring in the new year with this film? It's got everything: romance, laughs, and plenty of heartfelt moments. It's the perfect movie to kick off your new year with a feel good vibe.
All right, time for clues about our next movie.
This movie takes us back in time, literally, and it involves a certain car that's equipped for much more than just driving.
The film features an eccentric scientist and a guitar playing teen.
It's a perfect blend of science fiction and comedy with an unforgettable soundtrack.
Think you know what it is? Tune in next week to see if you are right.
Do you think you know it, Macy?
Oh, I do. Yeah, you girls gave great clues.
Okay.
Good.
We didn't give it away, but we hope we gave people something to think about.
Well, if you think you've got it, or you're just curious, tune in next week to find out if you guessed correctly.
And thanks again to you, Mayce, for joining us today. It was a fun look into When Harry Met Sally. And thanks to all of you who took the stroll down memory lane with us. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Real Sisters Rewind with underscores. That's real_sisters_rewind. And share your thoughts about the movie.
And as always, if you're enjoying the podcast, we'd love for you to leave us a review for the show and the episode.
Happy New Year, everyone!
Happy New Year!